keep moving it up. We'll go with global.
We have a lot of work to do.
Bit more, so around there. That's good enough.
Mermaid Emma is frozen. Let's help her.
And we're going to go ahead and hit apply so that it assigns it to our prefab.
Poor Emma got stuck in ice.
Actually,
Unfreeze
right, let's
her.
end it there. Well, no,
Break
we're not
the
quite
ice.
done. We got to fix up these tires. You have colliders on them, and I do not want that. So
Add a
let's go ahead
check mark,
and remove
please.
it. Oh, we want the mesh. I don't care about shadows and material and whatnot. We just want to get rid of all the colliders.
We still have work to do.
We should remember that first.
Now let's melt the icicles.
That.
Turn on the hairdryer.
So there we go. We got our little block car set up. We've got our drain set up. Next, we're going to take a look at wheel
Play
colliders.
more
And the
and
wheel
give me more
collider is actually
medically-
what we're going to be using to drive
Her
our
hair
car
is a mess.
around. We'll be using a motor to exert force on our car. Most of the steering and everything
Her
else
hair
we'll be
looks
doing is
fabulous.
with the tires. But anyway, next up, wheel colliders. I'll see you in the next video.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
this job is done.
Welcome
still have
back,
work
everyone,
to do.
episode 2 of our multiplayer racing game.
Emma has a runny
So we left
nose.
off last
Can
time.
you
We
help
went
her?
ahead, constructed
Ew,
a
clear
little
it,
car
please.
here, right in Unity. Now the reason why I did it this way here is because I wanted to have the parts all separate so we can go over how everything's going to basically work together and independently. But this video we're going to focus on the wheel collider.
Oh no!
Now before we get
Let's
into the
get
wheel
rid of
colliders,
these
one thing I did
germs.
forget at the end of the last video, let's go ahead and save our scene. I'm going to go ahead and create a folder.
Play more and
I'll
give
just
me
call it
more
scene.
medical equipment.
We'll go ahead, we'll save the scene. Now you can hit Control S, Command S, pick the menu, pick whatever one you want. I'm just going to go ahead, go into Assets, go into the Scene folder. I've actually already saved it, but we'll go ahead and save it again. Go ahead and replace the old one, and there we go. Done. So everything's saved. And I generally save every 1 or 2 edits, just constantly hitting Command S. Simply because if Unity crashes, you've lost everything since the last save, generally speaking. So, save off.
Great!
Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll select our first tire here, which will be the front left tire. And I'm going to go ahead and add a wheel collider to it. Now, Unity gives us 2 ways to do it. We can go up to the menu here under Component, go to Physics, and go ahead and
Add a
click
check
Wheel
mark,
Collider.
please.
And that'll add it for us. I tend to use the Add Component menu myself. And when I'm over here, you can get to it by going to
We
Physics,
still have work to do.
Wheel Collider. But a lot of the stuff in these menus, I don't know where they are, and I always get lost. So
Emma
I
has
just
a
type
sore
in
throat.
what I'm looking for, and
Apply
I'll just
some
pop
honey.
up. So we'll go ahead, we'll add it. Now before we go ahead and start looking at any of this stuff, let's go ahead, we'll just shrink it down. Gotta come over to the wheel. Whoops. Let's zoom in on this bad boy. And we can't see the collider. Let's go ahead and turn off the mesh renderer.
Okay, this job is done.
Come on, where is it?
We still have work to do.
There we go, now we can see it. Not sure why I wasn't
Let's check
showing.
her temperature.
But let's take a look at this. You notice it's a circle with a line. Not like a piece of pie with a cut in it. So this circle is going to represent the circumference of our wheel, and the line is the
Emma has a
suspension.
fever.
And the problem
Let's
is that we
treat it.
have it attached to our tire, which automatically has a rotation of
Give
90
her
degrees.
the syrup.
So if you had a tire that wasn't rotated 90 degrees and was in the proper position for you, this is great. You can just go ahead and add it on that way. But since our tires
check mark,
came from
please.
originally cylinders and we had to rotate them 90 degrees to get them here, we can't attach them this way. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the mesh renderer. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our wheel collider.
Good job. Mermaid Emma feels
And
great
I'm going to
now.
put the car. And we're going to go ahead and create an empty. And I'm going to call it right,
We have a
Sorry, this
lot
is
of
the-
work to do.
front, left. And I'm going to call this
Superhero
wheel.
Kevin has back pain. Let's help him.
And I'm going to go ahead and add it to here.
Oh.
And there
Take
we
off
go.
his costume, please.
And just to make sure it's in the
First,
same
we
position
must
as our
get rid of
tire
that
is,
hair.
I'm going to go ahead and chop it,
Pull it out.
zero it out, and then take it back off. And it really doesn't matter where we put it. I'm going to put it right above it because the tire eventually is
check
actually
mark,
going to
please.
go under it anyway. So let's go ahead. We'll take the tire. We'll turn it off. Release the mesh renderer.
We still have work
And
to
let's go to
do.
this wheel. it went ahead and not only grabbed
Kevin
the
has a
position, but
rash.
grabbed the rotation. So we're going to take that
Apply
rotation
healing
off.
cream.
And there we go. We got it the way we want it. We want to make sure that it's round and pointing down.
Now,
You can't
right
see
there.
the point too much. It's just a little bit right there. Just throw me off for a second with the arrow that was thrown up.
Okay,
It's the green
this
arrow
job
as
is
well. I
done.
was like, hey, it's pointing the wrong way. But no, it's pointing the right way. So let's go ahead. We'll come over to the side here.
We still have
And
work
let's
to
go
do.
over what all of these do.
Kevin is feeling
All right, so first
pain.
up we have mass, and mass, think of
Apply
it,
a
the
strip
bigger the
bandage.
mass, the more force it can exert on, well, other game objects that have rigid bodies or that react to
Play
physics.
more and give me
And
more.
I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to the Unity documentation
check
for
mark,
wheel
please.
gliders on the official course page, or sorry, the lesson page.
We
So
still have work to
go ahead and check that out if you want more of an
Spot
explanation.
on.
We have quite a bit to cover today, so I want to
Insert the
I
acupuncture
want to explain what
needle.
these do, but you might be able to, if you still don't understand, go ahead and take a look at the official page. Hopefully that'll help you out a little bit more. But radius, basically how big you want your tire. Basically the circumference of the tire. So we'll go ahead, we'll play around with that when we
Wait for a
actually
few
turn our
minutes.
tire back on. So I'll set that back to 1. Suspension
Add a
distance.
check mark,
This controls this little line that comes down, and you should always have it pointing down. And basically, think of it as how much suspension do you want in this tire?
Good
You want a
job.
lot of
Superhero
suspension, you
Kevin
want
can
a
fly
bigger
again.
line. Little suspension, littler line. We'll start at 0.1. And suspension, the center here. Basically, if we had a tire here, we get offset. If this was an actual tire,
We have a lot of work
I guess
to do.
mesh was attached to this, you could go ahead and change the offset of where it's positioned.
Vampire Justin has bad breath.
But
Let's
since
help
we have it
him.
on an empty game object, we're going to go ahead and leave it right where we want it, right dead center. And we'll move on
Get rid
to
of that
suspension
bad
spring.
smell.
First up, we have spring. And
clean his
the
teeth.
higher the number, the bouncier it's going to be. It's
First,
basically
apply
how
some
hard it
toothpaste.
pushes to keep that suspension. So if you have a
Now,
large
brush
suspension
your teeth,
distance here,
please.
and the best way to actually get familiar with these is just to keep playing with them. And you set a high spring. Basically, it's going to be really bouncy in the sense that, well, it shouldn't be really bouncy. It's going to push really hard to get it. So you can end
Add a
up with a
check
car
mark,
that
please.
bounces quite a bit if the road's a little rough. So we'll go ahead. We'll set this back down to 1. So the
We still
damper
have
will
work
go
to do.
ahead and make the spring,
Oh,
I guess, move
yes.
slower. It won't be so
Let's get rid of them.
fast to respond. So the more you increase it, the slower it will go. And next up, we have target position, which again is another float. And the
Okay,
way this
this
works,
job is done.
I didn't realize you could go above 1 and below 0. But the way this works is that
We
if it's
still have work
at
to
0,
do.
your suspension will rest at the fully extended position.
Ew,
And if it's at
that's
1,
clean as
it'll be at the
tongue.
fully compressed position.
Use the sponge,
And I
please.
guess if you actually go over, you can bounce up higher and lower off. I did not realize it actually went higher than.
Add a check
0
mark,
or 1.
please.
But by default, we're going to have it at 0 because that's basically what a car
We
naturally
still have work
sits
to
at.
do.
So the next part we're
Justin
going
has
to look at
cavities.
is the forward friction and the sideways
the drill,
friction. If you
please.
notice, they actually have the exact same properties. And to be quite honest, I don't know what a lot of these do, but I do know that the
Okay,
stiffness
this job
factor
is done.
affects basically skidding. And well, we'll just start off. Forward friction.
We still have work
You know
to
when
do.
a car is at a starting line and it guns
Justin has learned that
the
too.
gas pedal, it just slams it down, the tires will spin out before it
Pull it
actually
out.
grabs traction and starts going. That's what your forward friction is. Sideways friction is if you're driving
put a new
along
one
and you
in.
turn too sharply and a car could slide sideways, skidding. This is
Add
what
a
your
check mark,
sideways friction
please.
is. Now, I don't really know exactly what a lot of these properties do, but I
Great,
do know if
we
you
are
change the stiffness factor, lowering that number
He can chew again.
will increase the slide that you have. And that's basically all I've done with my cars. I've played around with these values a bit, but really for me it's just the stiffness factor that
Super.
I find
Thank you
works.
for your help.
So let's go ahead and turn our tires back on and start making 4 wheels instead of
This
just 4
is
tires.
your reward.
So I'll go ahead, turn our tire mesh back on.
We have a lot of work to do.
Ooh, look at that.
The witch
And I'm going to go
cursed
ahead
Princess
and
Katie.
make it a
Let's
child
help
of
her.
the wheel. And we'll go ahead, we'll select this, and we're going to go ahead and start playing with the radius until it's bigger than the wheel.
Let's take care of our eyebrows. Pluck the eyebrows, please.
There we go. So we want it pretty close to hugging it. Size-wise.
Add a check mark, please.
We could probably get a little closer. Let's just try 5. Would 5 be a good number?
We
That
still have
seems to be
work to
about
do.
right. Now, of course, when we actually put real tires on here,
We
we
need to
actually
get rid of those warts.
get our physics of our
Apply
car
some
down to
magical
the way
cream.
we want it, and we start importing real car models. This will change, but that's fine. We got a good start here. We are going to have to move it up
this job is done.
because you're going to want this above your terrain. So we'll go ahead
We still have work to do.
and let's just grab the whole car and move it up.
Her nose looks funny. Drag it to the right place.
And we're going to go ahead and do it for the rest of the tires as well. I'm going to turn them into wheels, so to speak. I'm going to go ahead and just leave this at 1 for now. Just some default values. We'll play around with this. Everyone's going to want their car to behave
Turn it
differently.
on.
And hopefully by the end of the month, we'll still have a little bit of time left over that
Can
maybe
you
we can
fix
go
it?
ahead and start adding things like upgrades to our game. And we'll be changing stuff with this. Like maybe there's a new set of tires that has better traction or whatever. But
Play
anyway,
more and give me more
that
medical
looks good to
equipment.
me. So I'm going to go ahead, duplicate it. And we're going to move it. Whoops. We'll just child it to the front right. Just so I can actually go ahead and... This time, I'm just going to zero out its position.
Great.
Keep the negative 90 rotation. Of course, we can come over here. There we go.
Add a check mark, please.
We'll unchild it. And we can actually just go ahead and delete this one.
We still have work to do.
We will have to rename this one. And I like to have them in a specific order. I like to have the left
Let's get rid of
first,
that
the
hair.
front left, and then the front
Use the scissors, please.
right. And these can actually start being called tires now.
Awesome.
Well, no,
Okay,
Let's
this
actually
job is
keep-
done.
the naming, just so we know exactly what tire it is. Sure, we could just go
We
ahead
still
and
have work to do.
parent transform, but we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. All right, so we got this one.
Princess hates that green
And we're
color.
going to go ahead,
Give her some magical
just
elixir.
delete the back ones. And duplicate these ones. Easy peasy. Move these back to about there. That looks good. And we'll rename them.
Add a check
Real
mark,
right.
please.
Rear left. And again.
Great, we are almost done.
So this is just the
Sprinkle
way
the
I like it.
magic
You can
dust.
order your hierarchy a little bit differently. I think for now, go ahead and keep it this way here while you're following along so you don't get lost.
Good job. Princess Katie is
There we go.
beautiful
Now if we
again.
go ahead and hit start, we will get an error here. And it says that it requires
We have a
an
lot of
attached
work to
rigid
do.
body to function.
Alien
Now, some people
Andy
get a
has
little confused
red
that you gotta
eyes.
put a rigid
Let's
body on
help
the
him.
tire, but that's not the way it is.
First,
Basically,
remove
as you
the
go up through the hierarchy,
discharge.
it needs a rigid body. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add it right to the parent object here,
Suck
the
it out.
car. And we'll just go ahead. Make sure you get the rigid body, not the rigid body 2D. We'll go ahead, we'll add that there. And before we go over the rigid body,
Okay, this job is done.
let's clear this and just hit start. There we go. If we bring it up a
We
little
still
higher,
have work to do.
and hit start. There we see it fall to the ground. The rigid
Let's
body
change his
is what
red
makes
eyes.
it drop to the ground.
Put on the
And let's go
cucumbers.
over quickly what a rigid body is. Since we're already over the 10-minute mark, let's just go ahead and cover
Wait
the
for a
the
few
important
minutes.
things that we're going to be using in our scripts here.
Remove the
And we'll
slices.
go a little more in depth on rigid
Good
bodies. in
job.
a
He
little
feels
bit.
better now.
So to start off with, mass. Mass is the exact same as we've looked at with the tires.
Add a
Think of
check
it this
mark,
way. If you have
please.
two game objects with mass, one has a mass of 100 and one has a mass of 1, and they collide together,
We still have
the
work
thing with a mass of 100 or
Oh,
the thing with
no,
a greater
he has
mass is going to push the thing with the
Extra
smaller
booger.
mass around. So the 100 mass is going to push the 1 mass around. Drag, when your
Send
game
him
objects
away.
moving around in game, forward and backwards, drag is a force that just basically stops it from reaching its potential maximum
Great,
speed.
you are
It's just a force
awesome.
that slows you down.
Okay.
So when you're
this job is
dropping,
done.
let's say, a pencil, from a certain height, the air makes drag. So
We still have work to
it
do.
basically stops the pencil
check
from
Andy's vision.
just constantly accelerating.
How many
So the more
boogers
drag
do
you
see?
have, well, the more force that's going to be
Two.
used to
And now,
basically slow down the acceleration of that item.
3.
Angular drag,
It's
exact same
getting
thing,
harder.
but for turning or
4.
rotating an item around.
Let's do
And
more.
use gravity. We are actually going to keep
5.
this on because, well, we're going to be doing jumps and
Add a
everything
check
else.
mark,
And, well, we don't want to be jumping off into space. We're going to want to have something to pull us back down to.
Great. We are
Now, as far as
almost
is kinematic and
done. Let's
AAA,
protect his eyes.
collision detection, and constraints, we'll cover those later. We probably never actually touch them.
Good job. Andy is ready
Not
to
that I
go
can
back
think
to
of off
his
the top of my
planet.
head anyway. So make sure you go ahead, save your project, and I guess I'll just see you over in the next video. Bye-bye.
We have a